You are now listening.
I enjoy the graphics and doing hands-on. I'm kind of like a cat that like can't sit still all the time. So doing something physical like printing and shit like that, I get something out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Like Shapeshifters and just LA in general is known for graffiti, tagging, art, and stuff like that. Shapeshifters not only is known for rapping and hip hop, but tagging and graffiti.
Yeah.
Were you also a graffiti artist and tagging when you came up with the Shapeshifters?
Um, without saying too much,
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely yes. Shapeshifters are my family. All my Can't Be Stopped family and my Life Seen Differently family. But yeah, I don't really touch on that too much.
Yeah, I hear you there.
But yeah, absolutely, man. That lifestyle, it's in my heart. It's always gonna be in my heart.
Yeah. I mean, graffiti art in general is just one of the lost arts, one of the elements of hip hop that's kind of become a lost art, a lost element of hip hop. You don't see it as much. It's not as prevalent as it once was, especially because people get in trouble for it. Doing it on the streets and stuff like that.
Which makes it cool.
Well, and people found that you can make money doing it now, and so they're just
mainstreaming
it.
Without getting in trouble, you can make money off of your art, which you've translated that art into your music and into some of your cover art, and kind of you can express that side of your art in your music. Tell us a little bit about how you transitioned into making hip-hop music. Were you a hip-hop head to begin with, or being in LA, were you into that like underground garage scene?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like kind of. Well, I'm gonna be 49 this year, and like coming up like in my high school days. I was born in Montebello. I was raised in Whittier, so I was. We were in like the backyard scene. You know what I'm saying? Like Class Act and all the party crew type. East LA shit. So from there, like. Just naturally it progressed into me DJing for Thump Records and like Lowrider magazine tour. And, so like I was kind of like a DJ first, you know what I'm saying? So like just being in that world and like, yeah, I mean, it's a California thing, man. It's a lifestyle, you're in it or you're not.
You're definitely listening to you and your vocals and the way that you configure your rhymes. I mean, some could mistake you as a Mexican fucking hardcore rapper. I'm not even joking, man. You got that SPM sound with that fucking low-key hip-hop fucking beat behind you, man. Like
very unique.
Very unique. Do you ever get mistaken as being like that kind of a rapper that could turn around and make a fucking hardcore Mexican album out of nowhere? Like, for real, you got that style in you, bro. It's crazy.
Man, it's just like just growing up out here and all my friends and just and one thing is I don't really use my imagery very much. Like I very rarely use pictures of myself and shit like that, right? So it's funny that I've met so many people who think that I looked like something else.
For
like,
sure,
dude,
for sure.
I thought you were like this fucking gigantic hairy brown dude, or
some
like
cholo,
fucking cholo, or
yeah,
I thought
for
you were
real.
like this Asian dude who had this long mountain beard, and I've gotten all these weird shit, so I kind of like it, man. I
cool.
dig the mystery,
The man of mystery.
Keeps them anonymous. Keeps them anonymous.
Hell yeah.
Tell us a little bit about when you first started like getting on the road. I find that interesting because a lot of MCs, you've been doing this for well over 2 decades, and I'm sure you got on the road at a young age. And I think that's like I always find that the most intriguing about this side of the music is getting on the road at a young age and how a mind or somebody can handle that. How did you handle that, and what age did you get on the road?
Oh wow, yeah, man. Well, like I was saying, like my first kind of tour was the Lowrider tour, and I actually turned 21 on that tour. So just being like playing arenas as my first taste of it was just kind of crazy. So from then, I would go on tour with Ab Rude, and Swollen Members and, like Two Mex and cats like that. And I would DJ for them, and then I would get up and I would just bust, a couple cuts, just to get out there and shit like that. So we've kind of been hitting the road pretty heavy, for since I was like 21, and I've definitely like I'll take little breaks, you know what I'm saying, and just to regroup and kind of just let my family know that they're a priority, you know what I'm saying, and then I'll hit the road again. But nowadays, now that I'm a little bit older, I think little spurts. That way, you still have the energy. You're not partying too much. I think when we were younger, we didn't know when to stop partying, and as long as we all fucking gathered into the bus in the morning and somehow made it to the next country or state or whatever the fuck we had to, to wherever we had to be, as long as we were there, it was fine. So it was almost like we were encouraged to just party it up. Like everywhere we would go, people would just give us so much of what we wanted to the point to where you're like, fuck, I don't even fucking want this anymore right now.
Damn.
This is too much, man.
Yeah.
When touring with someone like Ab Rude, do you find time to be like, hey, I'm going to get these classics in? Or are you more worried about getting your songs out together? Even after you do your songs, are you like, hey, man, you going to do your classics, so I'm going to do mine? Is that like something you guys consider?
Well, some nights like the set's real tight, and then there's some nights where we could be a little bit looser with time, or so a lot of it depends on the venue or the like. But yeah, dude, like we've been friends for so long, like we don't even like there's no battle for like stage time or like let me get this in or whatever. It's more of like if we felt good by the end of the night about whatever happened on stage. Like I said, sometimes it's loose, sometimes it's we like keep it super tight. So
that's cool.
But yeah, Ab's an OG, so of course, what I'm saying, I gotta let the OG, handle his business.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's all love.
Shout out to Project Blowed and all those guys. Just looking at the lineup building up for this Rhyme Fest going on April 15th.
Crazy.
Bro, it's just getting super dope. More and more interesting. ShapeShifters is going to be there.
Dead
mean, shit.
Everybody.
Yeah. Headlined by Farside, Dilated People, Sage is coming back.
Everybody.
Project Blowed, but ShapeShifters. How often do you guys all get together still and do this? I know there's a few members that won't be there, but what's the status with that?
Like some of us will play here and there, and then others of us will show up randomly, and we'll all play together. We're all still good friends, but this is like I forgot it was like one of these events that we had played with the Cloaks, and the whole shifters got up there, and that was like the first time that, except a couple of us, but that was like a first time in like 10 years. And it felt fucking good, you know what I'm saying? So it felt like no time went by,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be some family shit. That'd be fun, man.
That's the best part about having that kind of relationship, like that brotherly relationship, right? I had an older brother who would move out of the state, and I wouldn't see him for a year or two. But when we did see each other, it was like no time had passed.
You knew the vibe.
And even if we were pissed at each other at the time, when we get back together, it was like no time had passed. It was like we start busting each other balls and get back on track. That's that brotherly love you guys built over the years. ShapeShifters crew.
Word up. Yes, sir.
The ShapeShifters are a pretty prominent crew out of LA. When did you first feel that the ShapeShifters were catching steam, like really amongst the public?
I would say probably like early 90s. Rob One, he worked at EMI, and excuse me, he was a pretty prominent DJ throughout LA, and actually he was kind of our in to the actual industry, because Rob worked at all these labels. We got to go to these parties, and we got to play like some super cool like industry shit. So I think, I don't know, man. It was weird because I don't think we knew what was happening. You know, we were like playing these sold out clubs and we were like doing like touring all over the world and doing all this shit, but I didn't really realize that not everybody gets to experience that till later in life. I was like, oh fuck, you know, like that was real. Yeah. It almost seemed kind of like a dream in a weird way.
Yeah, I caught your interview on the Stevie Weeby show, and you told a story about how you guys got a letter of what I can't remember the exact term, but you guys were getting called out for using the Yoda on the album cover. What was the exact story behind that? Like they saw the cover somehow, and then they were like, "This is our character. You can't be using this shit because of copyright." Like they were just calling you out, threatening to sue you, or what?
Well, Axis had made that cover for us, and it had like a Yoda sitting on the corner, you know.
Yeah.
And then, so for the first release, and then Circus got a cease and desist letter from George Lucas, and he actually framed it and put it in his house.
Fucking A, dude.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
For George Lucas, you might as well.
I mean, at that point, you've got to be like, all right, George Lucas knows about the ShapeShifters,
giving us a little push here.
You know, he's got to feel good in a way.
Yeah. So after that, we like put a little hockey mask on Yoda.
Yeah.
So the reissues have a hockey mask, and the original issues you can see Yoda's face.
Yeah, it's like a little Jason style Yoda.
Yeah. Because you know, a few of us have worked like in the skateboard industry doing like graphic design and shit.
Yeah.
And as you know, man, most of that industry is like, they'll like take logos and flip them, and you know, take hip hop bands and you know, all these different logos, and they flip them. Mm-hmm. So what we always get away with is like, there's like this 10% margin, right? So it's like if you change it just 10%, you know, it's considered like a tribute. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So yeah, you know, take what you love and, you know, make a tribute to it, but, you know, give it your little twist, your little 10% twist, you know?
It's kind of the same thing with sampling. When you sample a beat, you got to change it just enough.
Just a little bit. Just
enough to make it yours.
You know what it is, yeah.
And even then, you still don't get away with it nowadays. Do you produce beats, and is that something that you find more enjoyable than writing and recording, or are you still in love with that writing, recording process?
I'm always writing, kind of. I'm either writing some shit on the notes on my phone, or like, dude, I'll write shit on. I have like tons of like little journals and shit. So I'm always kind of like writing shit here and there. But like as far as beats, man, I'll go through little phases. I'll make like a batch of beats, and then I probably won't touch production for like months. So it's like I really never try to force it, but yeah, I do love production for sure, man.
You definitely had your hand in production for the new album Scribbleface, if I'm not mistaken, as well as some help from Daddy Kev. You and Daddy Kev have a lot of, you know, or I should say a long-term, history, friendship, partnership, whatever you want to call it. When did you first cross paths with Daddy Kev and decide to start working together?
Me and Mike Nardone did a record that was supposed to come out through Grand Royal. At the time, it was me and Kool Keith in Volume 10, and we had recorded it over at Cubmaster Kurt's. But make a long story short, it didn't come out through Grand Royal. We ended up shopping it through Celestial, and at that time, I knew DJ Hive. So it was like DJ Hive and Daddy Kev and this other cat, Shaggy. They were Celestial. So they put out that record. It was called the NME. And then after that, it sold like 10,000 pieces right out of the gate. So then Kev was like, hey man, you want to make a record? So me and him started working together, and we both have this weird fucking sense of humor, and we always it's just mutual respect all across the board, you know. So that's why we've just been friends for so long, and yeah, I appreciate he's professional as well as creative, and you know, this year I don't know if you guys know, but he was nominated for a Grammy along with Freestyle Fellowship.
Yes, sir.
And,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, every time I see, you know, in any of the homies make any progress, I'm proud of them, you know.
Yeah,
we were talking about the
That's
Grammys
gigantic.
earlier, and about how they had that banner running in the background, and a lot of underground heads' names came up on that. How'd you feel about that? That was kind of cool to have some respect thrown that way.
Dude, I thought that shit was dope, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that people that never gave a fuck about the Grammys all of a sudden got sad that their name wasn't on something.
Yeah.
But I think that shit was really dope. I thought that whole performance was sick. That's my era. That's the reason why I do hip hop, is because of that whole era of shit. So seeing that little tribute to me, I thought Grammys did it some justice, man.
Yeah,
oh, for sure.
I thought it was really cool, and definitely to see some names of some people that haven't got a lot of love, and even some surprises on there. I mean, just seeing Sage Francis on there, I was like, "Oh shit, there's a surprise right there." But it was awesome.
Is it a trap? Is it a trap though? I mean, like, are they using that to stand on for 4 figures for what they're doing now? I mean, like, that's why
it was respect. It was
is it
just,
respect?
It was
I
paying
believe
homage.
I believe it's paying homage, but
Yeah.
you should be paying more homage than just a banner every once in a while. I mean,
it's good for me.
It's respect. I think LL Cool J, for one, has his hand in all of that, and then he puts on the Rock the Bells. A lot of those names on there, performers that have performed at Rock the Bells.
He lifts his pant leg up. He lifts his pant leg up for them, you know.
But yeah, man, I mean, it was super dope. And yeah, we were talking about Daddy Kev was nominated for that the award remastering To Whom It May Concern, which is a historical album and just, you know, a legendary
Freestyle Fellowship. You were talking about Volume 10 coming, and he came straight out of the Good Life Cafe. That whole fucking. Were you super into that era of hip hop? Was that something that you were aware of, being the Southern California head? And was that something that got you kind of going into making music?
Yeah, I was definitely there at the end of the Good Life era. I went there with Fat Jack and Ab, and I rapped there a couple times, and B Hall, you know, she was really welcoming, and then. But like pretty much right after that is when it turned into Project Blowed. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why they made Project Blowed was so that they could cuss. So like people wanted to say motherfucker and all this shit on the mic, but as soon as you do that over there, Fish will take your tape out and he'll throw your tape on stage because you were not allowed to say anything.
Get the past the mic.
Pass the mic.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think though, like that somebody would hold you to such a high standard of like, hey, you can't say one bad word, even one bad word. We're throwing the tape on the stage. You get the fuck out of here.
Well, that makes it harder too.
It makes it very
when
harder.
You're spitting a freestyle or just rapping in general,
but you know, at the same time, it's like sometimes you might say a bad word. I mean, you got to just kind of go with. You should get a 3-strike rule. You get 3 Fs, you're done. You know,
3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah, you know, you get 2 Fs, you might get it in there, but 3, you're done. You know, come on.
So you've dropped a couple projects as of late. The Cloaks dropped an album last year in November, I want to say. The Clockwork Orange, super dope album, man, from beginning to end. Like, awesome album, I want to say. Shout out to that. Shout out to the Cloaks. Shout out to Gelrock. And then you dropped a more recent project, Scribbleface, which dropped last month. Before we get into that,
which is crazy, different style, right? It kind of goes left, right? It goes up, down. It gets crazy.
Yeah, 19 tracks deep. For sure. It takes you on a ride.
Kind of a mood of emotions.
For sure, a mood of emotions, most definitely. Before we get into Scribbleface, let's talk a little bit about the Cloaks and A Clockwork Orange. You know, how'd you go about forming the Cloaks and meeting Gelrock in general?
Good question.
Me and Gelrock have known each other since like we were teenagers, and you know we're in crews together, and we've always rapped together, and we've just been friends forever. So it was just like it was a natural thing, man. You know, it's kind of just like even from the old Shapeshifter days, you know, Gil Rock has verses here and there, and so he's always been around, and we're still good friends, man. We fucking talk constantly, and we're actually dropping the rework Orange.
Oh, nice.
It's like it's a remix of the whole record, and it's like remixed by AC Alone and D Styles, Kenny Siegel, Controller 7, Factor, like of course Awkward, you know. So basically we took the whole album and gave all the vocals to all these different cats, and now we have like this. It sounds like a whole different album, man. It gives the lyrics like a whole new life.
Wow.
Twists and beats, or just like they're getting on something there, or they're just changing everything, taking things out? Like, how's that work?
Well, basically what we did is just we just gave them only the vocals. So we're like, you do whatever you want to it. So it's like they basically just like it sounds like a different record, man. It's fucking crazy.
That's cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it, man.
And when does that drop?
Probably in the summer. I just listened to like the masters a couple days ago, and yeah, so probably like around maybe June.
Awesome, bro.
You're somebody that has experienced many decades of like recording technology. I'm sure when you first started was before you could just jump on your computer and load Pro Tools and record in your house, right? It was 8 tracks and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about that evolution, and are you a fan of where it's at now, where you can record at your home and send a verse and collab with people that are overseas, say in Australia or some shit? You can throw them a verse instead of having that. I as a fan, always want to envision when you do a collab with somebody that you guys are in the studio together and you guys are writing and creating together. Like, that's my my vision of that song happening. But in reality, nowadays, most of that time you're kind of sending that stuff over the internet. Talk a little bit about that evolution, and are you a fan of where it's at? Obviously, it's good for money and good for production, but it's nice to be in the studio, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. I would say that we really are together for most of the process. Once in a while, you know, I'll drop vocals alone or something, but I'm an old school dude, so like I really enjoy being in the studio, drinking beers, fucking smoking, laughing, talking shit, and then like writing. I enjoy that process more than just flying vocals over the internet, you know. Like back in the day, like I was a DJ for Daddy Kev, you know, and when I was working with her, we would use these big reel to reel, like this one cat, he would do remixes, and like for JV also, she was somebody else who I was DJing for. But yeah, reel to reel, man. And then from reels it went to ADAT. From, you know, at first it looked like, I'm sure you guys know, it looked like a VHS tape, you know? And then from there it went to like a little digital tape. And then now it's like there's no tape, you know, it's in a digital cloud, man.
Do you still press up?
You still press tapes?
Hard copies and do like a certain number of hard copies? Because I know everyone does digital release, but the hard copy is always nice to have.
Yeah, we always try to do some sort of physical, like for Scribbleface, we did a vinyl with Audio Recon and Ooh That's Heavy. So then like I just released this thing with this cat, Count Fifth, and Copyright. We did this like 7-inch. So even with that, you know, it's we always try to drop something physical, man. A tape, CD, record. I think that is kind of like, if you really take your craft seriously and you want you're trying to build some sort of legacy or something to build off of in the future, I think making something tangible is like that is the way to go, man. Because at some point, you know, digital shit will
erase. It'll go away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you have a tape player at the pad?
What's up?
You got a tape player at the pad for real? Like off the bat, you could just get to
You know,
it right
actually,
now?
I still do, man. I still do. And, man, I used to have a fucking ill-ass collection, you know, throughout the years. And, you know, of course, actually, do you guys remember Beat Swap Me? Remember those days?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one day where I just took my whole collection and I just fucking unloaded it.
Wow.
Damn. And, but yeah, tapes, hell yeah, fucking tapes for sure, man.
Tape trading was a huge part.
Yeah.
We've talked to a lot of people
tape spot in my house
about tape trading and like how it was such a integral part of
changing
getting
their
music
revolution of hip-hop,
before the internet. It was getting music from the East Coast to the West Coast and music from the West Coast to the East Coast and so on and so forth. Were you a big part of that tape trading community back in the day and getting tapes and kind of trading around?
I definitely had my share of mixtapes, but I wasn't really. I wouldn't say I was part of like, you know. I know Rob was definitely one of those dudes. You know, he would be like, "Look, I got this." That's how I found out about like Stretch and Bobbito or, man, back what's his name, Truly Odd and Small J. They had like this radio show. So yeah, I guess. And then there was like mixtapes from the Rhodium. I remember getting one of those, and from that Rhodium mixtape is how I heard about like Mike and Nine and Jamal Ski. I think Be Real was on that mixtape. It's like a super classic fucking. I think it was like Tony A made it, you know, over Tony A and IC. But yeah, man, mixtapes, dude, for sure, man. I remember. This one homie, he was the first person to like buy a tape from the swap meet, like whatever, say AC/DC, right? And then he would just get an eraser and he would erase all of the shit off of it. So it was like a blank white tape and he would draw on it. And then we're like, oh, fuck. So that was the first guy who put the tape on the corners and fucking like record. I think at that time was like, Dre had a show on K-Day. It was like, man, it was like 6 turntables. It was called like, fuck. But we used to record that shit every Friday too.
You would hear fools pull dirty tricks and play like a whole fucking another album on one side and they'd have their shit on the other side.
Yeah.
So you were like, I want that because this is on it. And then when you got done with that side, you flip it over just out of habit and then your shit would be on that side.
We talked about that Aesop Rock.
Yeah, that's a dirty trick. Very dirty, but it works.
A smart
but dirty. Smart but dirty. I give it up.
We were lucky enough to talk with Dose One, and Dose One was very kind with his time and told us about tape trading and about how that's how he heard about some of these dudes and
dirty tricks.
It's just a cool thing. But talking about mixtapes, one of my favorite mixtapes that you're also on was the We Came From Beyond mixtape. Was that something that you a song that you had the Party's Over? Was that a song that you had, or did you just make that specifically for that album?
I think at that time we were kind of making Speakerface, so it's like Mike was like, hey man, I'm also working on this thing, and so I think I made that for his compilation.
What's that, 03?
That's an OG. 02? It's 02, yeah.
Yeah, 02. It's old school. It reminds me of being young, man, for sure.
I mean, they're just it just got so many great names. I mean, Freestyle Fellowship, Pep Love,
Mushrooms, Good Times,
Idea, Dilated Peoples, Blacklicious, a bunch of people.
Fantastic.
Great fucking compilation. And when you think of compilations, that's always like front of my brain as one of the greatest of all time. I love that one.
Oh, for sure. I had the album. I definitely had the actual hard fucking CD of it. So I didn't have the mixtape, but I had the CD.
Get back to your touring. Are you still touring now that after the whole COVID thing and getting back on the road? How's that been and that experience and kind of adapting to all that this new normal type of deal?
Yeah, man. Well, we kind of had a tour planned for that summer, and then all that shit happened, and then kind of like last summer they were like, hey, do you feel like doing this and that? And he was already booking shit for other people, and it was still a little shaky, man. Like cats were afraid to come out because they don't want to get sick, or you know, which is understandable. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hold off until it gets a little smoother. You know?
Yeah.
So I definitely got some shit happening this summer. I'm already starting to get booked up for the summer. So yeah, I think this year, man, I'm gonna fucking, you know, just hit the road again for a little while.
Get back out there and fill it out and see how it goes. We're excited about it. We'll love to see you come back onto the road, because anything that comes through Northern California, we're gonna be at for sure.
So yeah, I love Northern Cali, man. Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, I gotta love Cali. Scribbleface definitely deserves, you know, a tour and some shows to promote that album a little more. Let's talk a little bit more about that album, man. 19 tracks deep, once again. It dropped last month. How long in the making was this album? You produced, you know, the majority of the album, correct?
Yeah, I pretty much produced all of it. There was just a couple times where I took my shit to Hoppa's studio, or I took it to Kev's studio, and then we kind of, you know, fixed some levels, and I recorded some vocals just so I could get a bigger sound for a few of the joints. But pretty much I produced all of it, and just I chipped away at it like all last year, man. My mother had passed, and then like a year later my father passed, and then so I was spending a lot of time at home, and it was just, I don't know, I kind of needed an outlet, you know what I'm saying? So I would record one song here, one song there, and then for a second I was like, man, this sounds like two records, you know?
Yeah.
Because there was like an aggressive part, I guess, whatever mood I was in that day, or there would be like a melodic one, like whatever mood I was in that day. So I was like, man, I think I'm just gonna do 2 EPs, you know, because it sounds so different. But then when I would play it for cats, they would be like, oh, this one's my favorite. Or somebody else would be like, oh, this one's my shit. So then at the end, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to put them all together. And, you know, if people dig it, cool. If they don't, cool. I'm used to that shit too. You know, I know that my brand is not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I just took a chance, and then I just dropped it, man.
Yeah, I mean, and it's very, very, very. I think for someone that likes good hip hop music, it's easy to listen to. But like you said, your brand isn't for everybody, and that's something that you've probably known for a long time. Where you know where a lot of people aren't comfortable in that when they look in the mirror and they say, oh, this is my brand, and it's probably not going to get a million fucking views or likes or whatever, especially in this day and age. Especially, I mean, with us as well, doing this podcast, us talking to, you know, trying to talk. We're blessed to talk to Awol One. It's a legend in our world, but for
some cats
most people
like
aren't going to be sitting here watching and saying we're not going to get a million views. Is that something that you had to be okay with and being just all right in your skin, and this is a fucking Awol One, and this is who the fuck I am?
You know what? Honestly, man, some days yes, and some days no, man.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, damn, man, I should have been a plumber. You know what I'm saying? I should have been a art teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and then some days I'm like, man, is this real? This is a fucking dream, man. I'm feeding my family off of my passions, and you know, one thing is, you know, I mean, we all get down on ourselves from time to time, like no matter who we are, you know, and but I would say that definitely in the past few years, I've been praying a lot more and just trying to stay focused, man, because, dude, there's a lot of negativity out there, man. And if I get sucked into that, then I start going down that rabbit hole, and I start getting that train of thought. So I find what helps me derail from, you know, getting in that mindset is prayer. And you know, I'm still the same person, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely know that this world is not easy to cope with at times, you know?
Most definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, too, coming from you, someone that we look up to. It's awesome to hear that, you know, it's relatable. We're all going through shit, and I lost my father as well, but something that he always told me before he passed was that you got to put as many tools in your belt. The more tools you have in your belt to deal with life, such as prayer, such as, you know, whatever, music, art, to cope with stuff, the more tools you have in your belt, the better you're going to be in the future. And I think that's awesome that you found something that you've been able to use to help keep you above,
as a tool in his belt,
especially to keep us entertained by making great music, because as long as you're happy making music, we're happy because we get to hear it and we're entertained by it. So
Facts.
all about it, man.
So thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Definitely. Shout out to Scribbleface once again. Something that does make me feel good on that album, bro. The crew cut, microchips. All right, like a lot of dope names on that 9-minute track. Which a 9-minute track these days, you don't see that.
Damn,
you don't see that too much.
Damn near impossible.
You know, how hard is it to put together that many guys on one track? You know, in this day and age.
Dude, it was gonna be 3 of us, and then it turned into a 9-minute track. And then, but my original shit was like, man, I kind of want to take it there, like the old school fucking mixtape posse cut where you get like
hell yeah,
a zillion MCs. There's no fucking chorus. There's maybe like a little bit of a topic, kind of loosely through it, but for the most part, everybody's just wilding out. And then I was just trying to bring back that underground feel, man, you know?
Most definitely. It's nice to hear some hip hop heads that, you know, don't necessarily make too much music this day and age, such as like people like Buck 65, you know, just killing it still. And, you know, it's super dope, man.
Exciting.
It's exciting for sure. A covenant of the Cloaks, I want to say it was called, right? Covenant of the Cloaks on a Clockwork Orange, another posse cut style track, man, with Dose One and Mestizo. Yep. And, you know, again, just keeping that posse cut real. I love it, you know. When you're putting together a track list or an order of an album, you know, what goes into that mindset exactly?
Like for the posse cut, or just putting together
like for instance, putting together Scribbleface. What I know you said it kind of started out as one EP, turned into 2 EPs, but you know the order of it flows, and once again, it's like a journey of emotions. It takes you through a journey. You know, what is the mindset when you're making a track list like that for an album?
I kind of knew how I wanted to end it and how I wanted to begin it as the creation happened. But like, I think the final listing didn't happen until I was with Kev mastering it, and then it was kind of like, then I'm like the guy that can't make up his mind until the waiter comes right there, and then I know what to order.
Yeah.
But up until that point, there's like 5 different plates that I can't make up my mind. So it was the same way, you know, when we went to the studio and I had to make up my mind, and that's kind of when I was like, all right, well, this feels good and this feels good. And then I still question myself, but not after it's pressed, but like during the process, I'm always like fucking overthinking some shit. So, but after it came out and I read and I listened to it, I was super happy with the sequence I think it flows really well. I'm really glad that I ended up using the whole record, you know?
Yeah, it definitely flows well.
What you should, though, you should always be undecisive until the end. I mean, you make a good decision. It always comes in the very last chance. I mean, if you take your time.
You should love everything, because everything you do, you're putting your heart into it. So every one of those songs, you don't want to cut any of them.
But if you know
you want them all to make it.
But if you know for sure that in the end, when you make the decision, you know in your heart that's the one for sure, because you know what you've done and what you think everybody else should hear. You know what I mean? So it always is like that. So that's a good thing.
True. Yeah, and like with Covenant of the Cloaks, Awkward put that together. So, you know, we just called up the homies that we thought were like would rip that beat, you know, like Kazar and, you know, Dose and actually everybody on there just fucking ripped it. So
oh yeah.
And I've actually known Dose for a while, so, and we've always talked about working on something. So it was cool that he ended up on that posse cut and shit.
Yeah, I've always felt like Awol One fit in really well with Anticon and kind of that style too, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah, well, like back in the day when we would go to the Bay, we would stay with Soul, and that's how I met, like, you know, like Y and you know, Dose and like all those cats, you know, and I think at that time 6'2" was kind of in their crew, and Alias and all those dudes. But yeah, so Soul has always been the homie. We've gone to Japan together. Like we were out in fucking New York together during 911, and
wow,
like so like a lot of these underground dudes, we have a history because we've always helped each other out in some way, you know. So it is a community, you know. Like big ups to like Living Legends crew, and you know we've always, like, even though everybody's doing their thing, we always kind of like we help each other out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's been super relatable to the fans, is seeing it as like a family and like the community, and always seeing you guys tour together. And when you see a tour come through town, it's usually the same collection or a mismatch of the same guys, which makes it seem like, yeah, I'm going to a family reunion every time I'm going to a show, which makes it comfortable, you know what I mean, which is nice.
So yeah, that's what it feels like, man. I think maybe the only thing I could compare it to is like comedians. Like they tour together, and they fucking, you know, they jump in a car, roll out to gigs together, you know.
Real family shit.
Speaking of that, what kind of entertainment is influential to you, or you use, maybe not that you even use in your music, or just something that what's Awol One watching or reading, or what do you use for alternative entertainment besides just music?
Right now I think I'm watching we just finished it's called Love Off the Grid. It's on HBO, and shit is like city people hooking up with people that live like in the mountains or like way off of the grid, and they and they try to make it work. That shit's funny.
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro has a thing called Cabinet of Curiosities. That shit's really dope. We're watching that right now.
That's on Netflix, yeah.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that shit's dope. It's almost like kind of takes you back to like you know, like I wouldn't say Twilight Zone, but kind of like, remember Amazing Stories, or like those type of shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of feels like that, but it gets ill, man. There's some ill shit in there. He's one of my favorites.
Hell yeah! People keep telling me to watch The Last of Us, which I know is super popular right now.
Great show.
Which one?
It's called The Last of Us. I believe it's on HBO.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll peep it out. What is that about?
I just keep hearing to check it out. I guess it's like doomsday apocalypse style show.
Sickness that comes doomsday. People got to figure out a way to survive. They're burning bodies that might be sick. People are out there trying to just make it. They're trying to get to a certain.
Whoa! Spoiler alert! Let's not go too
just
far.
Trying to get
buddy.
into a certain spot where everybody feels good. You know what I mean? It's like it's good though. It's very good. Very good.
Do you you keep up with sports at all? Or you got any betting favorite in the Super Bowl this weekend?
You know, I'm not a big sports guy, man.
Okay.
My oldest daughter, she was a Rams cheerleader for 3 seasons, and that was my first football game. Is that we went to see her. So I've really never been a big sports fan. I like going to baseball games. I like Dodger games are fun sometimes because I like the camaraderie and shit. But I don't know, man. I just can't like sit and watch a game like on TV or whatever. You know?
Yeah, for sure. It's
lot of
not
time.
for everybody. It's all fucking. It's all relative, because it's not everybody's for music, not everybody's for sports. It's all whatever you're fucking into.
It's niche.
Yeah, niche.
The niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
The niche.
As we wind down here, where does the name Awol One come from, or Walrus, aka Walrus?
Yeah,
I hear that a lot.
Walrus.
This is one that I always want to ask people that we talk to. Where did the name come from? Did you come up with it? Was it given to you? Like, how did you come up with it?
Well, actually, first I was TMC, and that didn't really stick, man. And since my name I was Anthony without leave, and then it kind of just stuck. Like I didn't really like try to pound it in anybody's head or nothing, man. And it just stuck. TMC didn't stick. Nobody gave a fuck. But yeah, AWOL, and then I don't know I really don't know who's the first person to call me a walrus. But and then that just became something too. So I just thought that shit was funny.
Everybody calls you a walrus. From all the comments on there, you're a walrus forever.
Dude, yeah, I'll take you, man. Let's go. Walruses are dope, man.
Hell yeah, man! You're in the sea. You're fucking leading things out. Fucking A.
Awol One it's a classic name. It's something definitely that out of names in the underground scene, it was one that always stuck out to me.
For sure.
And then it attracted you to that. What is the next step? Are you guys Anti-Con not Anti-Con, but ShapeShifters gonna do more music together or more shows together? Are you guys gonna collab together anymore,
or just kind of a one-off?
Is this a one-off for the year?
No, we're definitely down. We have like little songs that we've like recorded sporadically throughout the years that have never really like landed on nothing. So I think that the plan is just kind of revisit some of that shit, see what works, see what's still relevant, and try to drop something this year. We've been getting tons of offers for shows and shit, but I think the hardest thing is it's such a big crew, man. Like when we used to tour, we had money like from a label to support us, so we would have the vans and the engineers and the road managers and shit. But right now we don't have a label to sort of put everybody on tour. It might be hard. Maybe we can get out there like some sort of version of us. But a lot of us cats, they have full on careers and families, and which is understandable. So if we do tour, it's probably going to be little groups of us, rather than the whole crew.
Yeah, even if we maybe get even a song or two out of it, we'll be happy as fans, because we love anything that ShapeShifters related, for sure.
If the ShapeShifters put something out, it would definitely be historic, just 1 track, 2 tracks, whatever. So we'd love to hear it. Before we go here, the ShapeShifters always rapped a lot about aliens, reptilians, stuff like that, man. Do you have any personal experiences or encounters, things you've seen, or
I wish,
alien wise or reptilian wise?
I hope.
Honestly, man, I really think that I have seen some people that weren't human, and I really don't know what the fuck is real. You know what I mean? Like, I know that our brain is like an antenna. And I feel like sometimes people's brains are, they're receptors for shit that they don't necessarily want, So, as far as aliens, man, I think that's kind of like a broad term. It's like everything in the sky is an alien, I guess. And then, but who knows what's out there, man? I personally feel that a real alien doesn't need like a vessel to fly around in, like some sort of material ship. I don't think an alien would need a ship. I feel like if there is an alien, which I don't know, that probably not, who knows? But if they are real, I don't think that they need vessels. I think that they could float around freely and hop dimensions at will or whatever they do. But I kind of laugh at people that think that, like there's a little green man inside of a ship.
There's little white men inside of cars.
No, they're probably just.
I think it could happen.
Like you said, they're jumping through time. They're fucking like
dimension hopping.
Yeah, hopping through time. I can see that.
I can see that, but I mean, if we need cars a little bit, just lightweight a little bit to get places, why couldn't they need a spaceship?
True. Yeah, that's
just
true.
lightweight. Just lightweight. Not anything crazy. Just lightweight.
But they would still be jumping through time with their spaceship.
I drive to fucking Manteca right now in my truck. So, I mean, you might need a spaceship to get to a little bit somewhere, you know?
Well, that's kind of why I feel like maybe there's people in those vessels, or those vessels are controlled by, somebody from another country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that those vessels exist. I recently heard an interview with a doctor. He said that he's been traveling, like he gets paid from like some very influential people from other countries, and he literally travels by tube, and it takes him 20 minutes.
That'd be crazy.
To travel all the way to the other side of the earth, basically in 20 minutes. And this is coming from some like professional dude's mouth who has no reason to lie. So if this dude's traveling by tube, who knows what the fuck is, up there, and who knows who's traveling in whatever's up there too, man.
Like Chuck E. Cheese slide tube?
No, I like that.
That's what you mean? Like, you get whoosh, like Chuck
More
E.
like
Cheese
Discovery
sliding?
Zone, bro. A little
Same
longer.
thing? A little longer, a little tube? That's crazy.
Wow,
Right,
that
remember the old school banks? They would have
Yeah. I could see that. Why wouldn't it be possible? You could do it with a tube in a small series. You could do it in a big series.
Damn, our banks don't even have drive-thrus anymore because no one even needs cash anymore. So those little tubes don't even exist.
It's not real.
That's what they're using them
Cash
for
isn't
now.
real
That's what
anymore.
they're using them
Yeah,
for
it's
now.
all digital.
Goddamn fucking Mandela effect came back on us again.
The man who made the tubes up is a millionaire.
Well, I want to say thank you very much, Awol One, for spending time with us on your
Thank you.
Friday and being so generous
Oh,
with your
yeah.
time. You are a legend, and we really appreciate you coming out and talking and speaking with us. And hopefully we can talk to you again soon, and look forward to all the new work and hopefully seeing you out on the road again.
The motherfucking walrus.
Thank you guys so much. Much respect. Peace, and I appreciate what you guys do. You guys are a big part of keeping all this alive as well. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Thank you very much. We're just huge fans of the history
of the
and the whole movement and everything that it is and it was. And thank you very much for your part in it. And always respect to you and ShapeShifters crew. And once again, thank you very much. Everyone, give it up for the one and only Awol One.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, thank you, Awol.
Hey,
Peace,
thank
peace,
you.
peace.
If you ever drop a hardcore Mexican album, we'll be there for it. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah, by the way, that was my wife. That was on the chorus of Hasalgo. So,
Oh, hell
yeah.
There it is.
Hell
right
yeah.
there.
There it
I
is.
was like, you got to drop some more vocals,
I knew it.
Oh yeah. Keep the duo going.
Thank you, Awol. We
Have a good
appreciate
night, brother.
you. Have a
Enjoy
great
your
night.
weekend.
Be
All right,
safe.
brothers. Peace.